What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Graybeard Gamer, bringing you the first episode of COD Basics. This series is going to help you become the Call of Duty player that you want to be if you're an average to a little bit above average player. It's going to give you some tips or reminders that are going to help you be a better player. But before we get into that, if it's your first time to my channel, make sure you subscribe. If you like the video, if it helps you out at all, make sure you smack that like button. We're going to have lots of these episodes, so stay tuned. And let's go ahead and jump into those tips. The very first thing that we're going to talk about today is actually two things that kind of go hand in hand, and those are positioning and movement. If you watch a lot of the really good Call of Duty players on YouTube, you'll notice that they've mastered movement and they mastered positioning. Why is that important? Because number one, if you've mastered positioning, when you're taking on an opponent, you've put yourself in a position that you are somewhat behind cover. You're not head glitching, but you're somewhat behind cover, or you have an escape route available if you're starting to lose that gunfight. And that's where positioning and movement comes in, because once you've mastered the ability to tactically retreat from a gunfight and recover, you're going to find yourself dying less and going on longer kill streaks, which, let's face it, that's where it's at in Cold War. So you want to make sure that you're working and always conscious of your positioning and your movement. Make sure that you always have a retreat plan in case that gunfight doesn't work out the way you expect it to. If you do this, you will see an immediate improvement in your gunplay. The second tip we're going to talk about today is something else that I think a lot of Call of Duty players, especially below average, and even some that are a little bit above average players, that don't do enough of, and that you need to go into every match with a plan. You need to have and visualize in your mind where your opening route is going to be, and within that plan you need to understand where the enemies could possibly come from, where they're most likely going to come from, and you need to have a plan how you're going to engage those enemies. Know the cover in the area. Once you play the Call of Duty for a while, you get to know the maps and you get to know the routes, and you know the spawns a little bit. So you're going to want to know in the approximate area in which you're going to probably engage an enemy, and you need to have that cover plan, and you need to have a plan for retreat just in case you start to lose the gun battle. But plan ahead, know the route that you're going to run, know the routes that the enemies are most likely going to come from, and once you get through that and you move on to the next phase, know what your plan is. If you get into the enemy spawn, make sure you have an escape route. If you start to get overrun or the enemies start to get wise to you, have a position A and a position B, so that once you've exhausted position A and they all start throwing nades at you or they all start rushing that position, then you can transition to position B and pick them off from there. But make sure that you have a plan going into each match. The last tip we're going to talk about today involves the setup of your class. So what you need to determine right away is what kind of player are you? And don't let your ego get in the way. Are you a player that's methodical and slow and a little campy? Or are you a player that likes to rush? And you need to build your class according to that play style. That includes your score streaks. So if you're a player that likes to camp a little bit, then you're going to want to run Field Mic, and you're going to want to run maybe an LMG instead of an SMG. You're going to want to run Flak Jacket. You're going to make sure that you run Tac Mask. You're going to need to build your class according to your play style. That doesn't mean that you can't change your play style and get better as you go, but you need to build yourself for success right now. You need to run score streaks that are going to help you achieve your goals, which is longer kill streaks. So you're going to want to run UAV, even run a counter UAV. I've seen that a lot in Cold War, where people are running counter UAV, and to be honest, it's really a nuisance and very frustrating. And hang on to that counter UAV and run that counter UAV when they get a UAV up, or when they're getting a harp in the air. That's when you want to run that kind of stuff. But run score streaks or kill streaks that are going to help you go on longer kill streaks for yourself. But anyway, guys, we're coming down to the end of the video. This has been the first episode of Call of Duty Basics. Hopefully it helps you become a better player. If it does, please make sure you smack that like button. Subscribe if it's your first time here. Stay tuned for the next episode, where we're going to talk a little bit more about individual gunplay and that kind of stuff. But anyway, this is Graybeard Gamer. I appreciate your time. Make sure you smack that like button, and I'm out.